Hey everybody, welcome back to the PubTriviaExperience. My name is Chris, and ladies and gentlemen, we are gathered here tonight to play some trivia, have some drinks, eat some food, and really just have a good time. Let's start with the woman directly to my left, my lovely wife, Leah. Leah, babe, how you doing? What are you drinking?
Hey, babe, I am doing wonderful. Glad to be back. I was not prepared to record tonight, so I am just drinking a little bit of water. And then hoping for the best tonight.
Oh, it's going to go well, because Leah, we've got you paired up with the pride of, I'm going to call it Muscadine. It's not Muscadine. Muscatine, Iowa. Brian Nash, my friend, how are you doing, and what are you drinking?
I'm doing great. I had to scramble. It's like, oh, I got to grab something to drink. So I had to hit the fridge. I have Dragon's Milk White.
Ooh,
that's a
bourbon
good beer.
barrel aged white stout.
That is a good beer.
It's a very good beer.
It is a very good beer.
Nicely done, nicely done. We're going to head out. Actually, we're going to head back to the East Coast here. Fayetteville, North Carolina. Tim Dipple, my friend, how are you doing, and what are you drinking?
I am doing well after a long tournament. I am excited to be playing trivia myself rather than hosting. And I unfortunately don't have any beer in my house at the moment, but what I do have tonight is a metaphor. I am drinking Crush because we are going to crush you.
Oh.
The smack talk has started.
Begins.
Now we're going to head out to Rocket City, USA. Mike Mott, my friend, in Huntsville, Alabama. Same to you.
Dude, I'm doing great. Like Tim, really happy to be back playing. It feels like it's been a long time. I'm hoping that there's not too much rust on the gears here. I'm glad Tim got in a nice little can opening sound because tonight I have a bottle, so we'll see if this comes through. Maybe, kind of, ish.
Oh, it came through. Oh yeah, you're good.
Okay, this is a Prairie Artisan Ales bomb. It is an imperial stout aged on coffee, cocoa nibs, vanilla beans, and chili peppers.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well,
It is a cold night here, so it felt like it was very fitting. And that is a damn good beer, and I'm going to enjoy it.
We were promised cold weather, and then it was in the 80s again today. So,
that's Florida for you.
Florida.
I don't even want to hear it, man.
This is not to be braggadocious at all, but if I knew it was going to be in the 80s, I would have turned the pool heater on and we would have been in the pool.
Naturally.
No. I wasn't sorry, Tim, but so I'm going to be honest.
What are you drinking to cool yourself down?
I'm going to be honest with everybody. I went a little too hard last night.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
My last night consisted of Old Forester Private Barrel, Midwinter's Night's Dram, which is one of the best bottles. You can find it. It's a great bottle of bourbon. I think it's just a whiskey. I don't think it's a bourbon. But I went from there to Blade and Bow to Lafrague. I was going to say, Scotch.
I knew eventually you finally tapped into that Lafrague I gave you for a housewarming gift for the previous house.
Then I went to Blanton's and I finished it off with Old Foresters. I had 9 drinks last night. And Leah was less than enthused.
It was not a good experience for Leah.
No. But I wanted to go with something local. I wanted to go with a place that I found recently that I really do enjoy. So instead of talking about a bourbon or a whiskey or a beer, I'm going to talk to you about a gourmet popcorn stand here in Dunedin. It is called Harley's Gourmet Popcorn. This right here is they call this their Dunedin mix. This sounds disgusting. 100% this sounds disgusting. It is orange and blueberry flavored popcorn, and it works. It works so hard.
Okay.
I am obsessed with this popcorn.
Well, Chris, not to interrupt, but I neglected to mention that this particular bottle of beer, 13% alcohol by volume. So it will be as if I've had maybe not 9 drinks, but by the end of this episode, we'll see. And I have to work tomorrow. What am I thinking? Oh, well.
You live and you learn. Well, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we are playing a pop culture, almost like an eliminator round. It's going to be Brian and Leah taking on Mike and Tim. And I have got pop culture questions from the last 6 decades. Not the last 6. We don't have anything from 2010 earlier, but the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and aughts. And to win the game, there's no wagering or anything like that this week. You have to be the first to get 3 questions correct in each decade. So this is going to be a gauntlet of gauntlets. Brian and Leah, you all won the coin toss before the game. Do you want to go first or second?
What do you think, Brian?
I think we should go first if we won the coin toss.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go first.
All right.
All right. What decade do you want to start with?
What do you think, Leah?
Well, I'm only going to be good with 80s and 90s. So let's maybe start with one of the decades you're really good at.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and let's start the challenge off right then. Let's start in the 50s.
Starting in the 1950s.
I'm going to channel my mom here.
Here is your 1950s question. In 1958, It's Only Make Believe became the first of 9 top 40 hits for what singer?
All right. I need to double check. Is there any kind of a stealing situation going on? Or
There is no stealing.
Okay, just making sure. All right. So I do know the song. From my karaoke days, there was a guy named Ernie who owned the bowling alley that I used to host. I long ago I was a karaoke DJ, and I sang a lot of karaoke back in the 90s. And I distinctly remember old Ernie just belting out, "And it's only make believe." And I'm trying to remember which singer that was, because he had a couple of favorite singers. I don't think this was Roger Miller. He wasn't. He was a little more laid back. He wasn't hitting those high notes and the big long notes. I don't think this was Hank Williams Sr.
But what about Junior?
Definitely not Bo Cephas. He wasn't around in the 50s. He was, I think he's only a couple years older than me. He really hit his stride in the 80s. So,
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't recognize the song, and then when you just started singing, I was like, that sounds like Frank Sinatra singing. So, but that was way earlier, right? So it's not going to be like a crooner.
Sinatra was definitely big in the 50s, but this was not a Sinatra. I mean, Sinatra may have done this song at some point. Sinatra didn't care about whether somebody else laid claim to a song. He would do it just because he was Sinatra. What are they going to do? But it was not a...
answer.
Okay. I'm pretty sure this is not correct, but of the 2 that I listed, I'm going to kick myself because I don't think it's Hank Sr., but I'm going to say Hank Sr. because it's a better chance that it may be him rather than Roger Miller. But I don't think either one of those is correct. So you okay with going with Hank Williams Sr.?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Unfortunately, not a correct answer. Tim or Mike, either of you have an idea?
I don't.
Not a clue.
This would be the one and only Conway Twitty.
Who?
Okay.
Leah doesn't listen to country music.
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
You're just from Central
Neither
Florida.
does Mike.
That's true.
Neither does Mike. So
At least Brian was in the right ballpark.
He definitely was. All right, Mike and Tim, what decade?
You want to start kind of like 90s-ish, kind of a wheelhouse, get going and get
Sure.
some... let's start with the 90s.
that works.
We're going to start with the 90s. In 1990, which underdog unexpectedly knocked out boxing champion Mike Tyson in the 10th round to win the undisputed world heavyweight title?
I'm pretty sure that was when Evander Holyfield did it, because the rematch was when Tyson bit his ear.
Yeah.
but I'm almost positive it was Evander Holyfield.
Yeah, I'm good with that one.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Evander Holyfield is incorrect.
Ooh.
Oh, it was the other guy. Was it Bo? Is that the other guy?
Buster Douglas.
Buster Douglas. Okay.
No harm, no foul. Brian and Leah, over to you.
Okay, I would have missed that too.
I'm not a boxing guy. I just remembered Holyfield around that time.
Yeah, I just remember the jokes about them getting together to make a cereal, calling it Eerios. Leah, do you want to try the 90s?
Yeah, let's try 90s. Why
Let's
not?
try 90s. Let's get some correct stuff under our belt.
Going back to the 90s. Here we go. Which band featured infant Spencer Eldon on the cover of their album Nevermind, which was widely acknowledged for introducing alternative rock to the large mainstream audience?
Okay. Never mind. It's probably an album, right? That's what you just said in the question.
It is most definitely an album.
Never mind. Never mind. Is that the one with the little? That's the little baby, right? Swimming in the
Yep.
pool.
Chasing after a dollar bill.
Oh, okay. Do you know the answer?
Yeah,
Okay.
I do.
Then why don't you just say the answer? Because I'm just saying things somewhat related to the answer.
This is absolutely Nirvana.
It is 100% Nirvana, and Leah and Brian are on the board. Mike and Tim, over to you.
That's better than me. I just said Weird Al.
Right? Except he was chasing a donut, though. It's different.
Also, I don't think you say Weird Al introduced alt rock to the masses.
Hey, if you've ever watched Weird, it's completely possible. No spoilers.
That's absolutely true. He introduced alt rock to me. Does that count? I heard Smells Like Nirvana way before I heard Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Has everybody on this podcast seen
Nope.
that movie?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Not yet.
Yeah, say no more. I don't know, Tim.
It's
Do you
on
want
the
to?
list, but I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, you need to see it. It's great. Do you want to stick with the 90s and try and get some under our belt, or you want to bounce around?
Yeah. The only thing that I would feel stronger about than the 90s is the 2000s. I'm pretty much as you go further back, I get weaker.
Yeah. Let's try the 2000s. 2000s I feel is very hit or miss for me.
Yeah.
But we'll give it a shot.
Let's do the 2000s.
We're going to the 2000s. Here we go. In the 2009 film Avatar, on which planet is the Resources Development Administration mining for unobtainium?
That's Pandora.
I was going to
it?
say, isn't that Pandora? That's the planet, right?
Yeah. So yeah.
Okay.
So we'll go with Pandora.
Pandora is a correct answer. And we have everyone on the board now. Tim, Mike have gotten one in the year 2000. This is going back to Brian and Leah.
Okay, you want to go older?
All right,
You want to
should
try like
we-
60s or something?
Sure, we can try 60s.
Okay, 60s.
Going to the 60s. Who plays the role of Melanie Daniels in Alfred Hitchcock's 1963 horror film The Birds?
Are you
Isn't
sure that it's
isn't that
Alfred
Kubrick?
Hitchcock?
This is how great this has become. Like I just sit back grinning like an idiot, and somebody else makes my joke for me. I love it.
So we're looking for who plays
The girl.
the
main
girl in The Birds. Yes,
Um,
Melanie Daniels.
I don't know. Is she
Okay,
blonde?
Janet Leigh was the blonde from Psycho. And the blonde from The Birds, she really, really did not like Hitchcock by the time that was over.
Neither did Shelley Duvall after The Shining, but hey.
Yeah.
Another great Hitchcock film.
Could it be like a Betty? A Sharon? Susan? Debbie? Laura? I'm just naming my mom and all my step parents.
You know when you get that thing where you get a name stuck in your head? No, it's like, okay, that name's not right. I need to get that name out of my head, but the name's stuck there. And
Yep.
all that's stuck in my head is Anne Heche. Or Anne Heche. And I'm like, no, of course it's not Anne Heche.
That's-
She was in Psycho.
Yeah, that's
Right.
the remake of Psycho. I knew
Yeah.
that one.
Also, rest in peace, Anne
But-
Heche.
And
Yeah.
yes, rest in peace, Anne Heche. But now I'm going, Anne Bancroft? No. It's not Anne. No. She was married to Mel Brooks. No.
Barbara.
It was not Barbara Eden.
I love Leah. She's just yelling out names.
Oh yeah, no, that's
Well,
not
if
a
it's
bad
going to
strategy.
trigger him
No,
to
it's
remember
not at all. I
something.
think it's great.
You said Debbie. I'm going, Debbie Boone? No, it's not.
I was thinking Deborah Carr. I think that's an old one.
Deborah Carr's, I think, a little later than.
I think that was From Here to Eternity. I think she was in that one.
Okay. I know it's not right, but all I've got is Janet Leigh. I don't have a better answer than that, unfortunately, Leah. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to turn in my movie watching card because I can't remember who the hell
These
this
are
was.
very old movies, okay?
It is.
A lot of pop
and
culture has happened since
It's a
the
very
50s and
iconic
60s.
movie, though.
This is one of the few Hitchcocks that I've seen,
Heh.
but I saw it 30 years ago.
Need an answer.
All I got's Janet Leigh.
All right, Janet Leigh, unfortunately, is not a correct answer. Mike, who are we looking for?
Tippi Hedren.
Tippy. Hedren.
Tippy.
Yes.
I wouldn't have come up with that one.
All
to
right,
trigger.
Mike, Tim, over to you.
Uh,
I picked the 2000s. You go this time.
let's go. Let's see. We've done 90s, 2000s. Let's work our way back. Let's go 80s.
The first 80s question of the night. Here we go. Which song by the Swiss band Yellow was featured in the 1986 teen comedy Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
Bow, bow.
Yeah,
I believe it's just called Oh Yeah.
I think so.
Bow, bow. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's not Oh Yeah. I have no idea what it's called.
So just to be clear, it's that song and not the. Wow! All of a sudden, like I'm blanking even on what the title of the song is, but the parade song.
It's not. Yeah, it's not Dunk a Shane or Twist and Shout.
Okay, just making sure that we cover the
Yeah, and it's
cover
not
both
that
bases there.
it's not that awesome like orchestral version of Please Please Let Me Get What I Want.
Okay, then
by the
yeah,
Smiths.
I would say go with Oh Yeah.
I think I as far as I know, it's just called Oh Yeah.
All right, yeah, we can go with that.
Oh Yeah is a correct answer.
Wow.
You picked up one in the 80s.
Nice.
Bow, bow.
Brian and Leah, over to you.
Damn it!
Okay.
I was all over that one. All right, let's get them back and hit him another 80s song.
Okay. Yep.
Going
80s.
back to the 80s. Here we go. Which line of dolls, complete with their own birth certificates, became a toy fad during the 1980s?
Cabbage Patch. Is that right? Brian, what would you
It
say?
is absolutely Cabbage Patch Kids.
Yeah, I would say Cabbage Patch because you can get the birth certificate made at the little store in Georgia.
Cabbage Patch Dolls is a correct answer. Nicely done. All right, both teams have one in the 80s. Brian and Leah have one in the 90s. Mike and Tim have one in the 2000s. The 50s, 60s, 70s are a little bit lonely. Mike, Tim, over to you.
We haven't visited the 70s yet.
There's probably a good reason for that, but we can try it.
I'll give it a shot. Got to get him sometime.
We're going to the 70s. Which actor played the title role in the detective series Cannon?
Have you ever heard of this series?
I haven't.
Me
You want to just
neither.
give a random 70s TV actress?
Let's see. Okay, hold on. Now, Telly Savalas was Kojak. Never mind. Oh, that might have been a giveaway to later. I hope not. Cannon? Chris, I have a weird question, but is that one N or two N's?
Two N's.
Okay, so more like something that fires balls and not something that is like considered. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
like not something related to sainthood or whatnot. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You said a detective?
Which actor played the title role in the detective series
Okay.
Cannon?
Okay,
Oh,
so you-
actor. So that changes things because I thought he said actress.
No, this was
Okay.
the 70s.
Okay.
All right, so let's think, around mid-70s television actor.
So we're talking like
Yeesh.
Burt Reynolds era.
Yeah, Reynolds would have probably been too big for television. That was back when there weren't a whole lot of big-time actors doing television. But he could have become a big actor later, but Reynolds was already big at that time. But if it's somebody...
See, now that it's actor and not actress, because I swear I heard actress at first, I feel like I've heard this question, but I couldn't tell you an answer here.
Yeah, no, that's
Shout out a random 70s actor and I'm good with it.
if I could come up with a random slide. This is what happens is your mind just goes blank if you don't like completely know something sometimes, and I'm trying to think.
Like trying to come up with 50s actresses?
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. Or 70s punk bands. That was me earlier today.
Never heard of it.
Jeez, actors in the 70s.
Let's see.
Like Leslie Nielsen pops into my head. I have no idea why. He was a detective. Maybe he was like a serious detective before he was a funny detective.
Okay. This is a completely unrelated question. I'm trying to get some time frame. When was Dukes of Hazzard?
Dukes of Hazzard would have been late 70s, I think, somewhere around that time frame. So probably not too far off.
Okay. Because the only reason that I was wondering, so I have, what about?
I am going to need an answer.
I like where your head's at, though.
No, it's, so my first thought was like maybe it was a John Schneider role, but I think he would have been too young to play a detective in that.
Yeah.
And then my second thought was the guy who played the dad on Boy Meets World, but I think he would also have been too young then.
Could have been Mr. Feeney.
I don't think so. But I feel like I've heard this, so that leads me to one of those two. Okay. And of the two, I would say Russ Daniels, which I was trying to pull up his name. World.
I was trying to pull up his name. I'm fine with that. I don't have a good.
Let's go with Russ Daniels. William.
William Daniels was Mr. Feeney. So.
Russ Daniels.
Okay.
I believe they were both Daniels.
Okay, cool.
Sure, why not?
Unfortunately, the answer is not Daniels in any way, shape, or form. This gentleman actually fought in World War II. He's credited as flying his plane underneath the Golden Gate Bridge twice during World War II. Don't know why, but hey, he's credited for it. It's a gentleman by the name of William Conrad. Emmy winner William Conrad.
Okay.
Brian, Leah, over to you.
In the 70s and 80s, he had a commercial where he had a battery sitting on his shoulder going, "I dare you to knock it off my shoulder."
He looked like a tough guy. This is the picture on IMDb. He looks like a tough guy.
Yep. And it just hit me that the dad in Boy Meets World was William Russ, not Rusty Daniels. They called him Rusty because of his last name.
I gotcha. It's okay. I had nothing. I would never have pulled it. So,
Leah, why don't we try the 2000s?
All right, 2000s.
Yeah, 2000.
In the year 2000.
Here we go. Which educational animated series aired on Nickelodeon and featured a backpack-wearing girl and her monkey friend named Boots?
That would be Dora the Explorer, I believe.
You want to check with your partner?
Yeah, Brian. That was me. That was me with the question mark at the end.
Definitely.
Okay. So we're going to say Dora the Explorer.
I can just sit back because I'm the map, I'm the map, I'm the map.
Backpack.
So these questions, some of them are wiki, some of them are a little bit tougher. Dora the Explorer is correct. You've got one in the 80s, the 90s, and the 2000s. Tim, Mike, over to you.
I feel like we have a lot better luck with the newer decades. And if some of these questions are Dora the Explorer, maybe we stock up on the good ones.
Build a little bit of a cushion and then dive into the older decades.
Yeah.
I like where your head's
Let's
at.
go with the 2000s.
Okay.
Going back to the 2000s.
We got the easy one. Now you're going to get the hard one.
That's what I was a little worried about, but that's all right. We'll be good.
Here's your question. Which three-letter song title by recording artist Rihanna, wow, how'd I mess that up, was a #1 hit in 2006?
Oh.
That's got to be SOS.
I don't know Rihanna. at all.
Yeah.
I don't. But that sounds right. I mean,
Yeah.
when I thought of 3 letters and one of them's not a letter for Rihanna, I thought of S&M. But
Yeah, I was gonna say, but it was
but
specifically
it's not.
3 letters.
It's 3
right,
letters.
Chris?
Yeah. Oh, I know the song you're talking about now. Yeah, that's got to be it. Yep. I'm sorry. It took me
Yeah.
a second to get there, but
Yeah. So
sorry, my
SOS.
brain goes a different direction with Rihanna. Anyway,
Answer?
SOS.
SOS is a correct answer. Nicely done. And you've got 2 in the year 2000. Leah, Brian, over to you.
Let's see. We haven't tried anything in the 60s or 70s yet. We could try one of those.
Okay, let's do 70s.
1970s, here is your question. Which arcade video game created by Tomohiro Nishikado was released in 1978 and manufactured and sold by Taito in Japan?
78.
So there's like, I'm thinking like the stand-up arcade games back then. So I'm thinking like the Pac-Man, the Galactica,
I
or
have
whatever it's
spent
called.
more time in the arcade than most human beings. So early Taito. So because my immediate first reaction was to say Pac-Man, but 78's earlier than Pac-Man. Taito, let's see, Tempest was Atari. So I'm kind of leaning towards Space Invaders.
I was just going to say Space Invaders is the only other one I could think of that was probably before then.
It was, it's got to be, I'm thinking just for accessibility, it's going to have to be either Space Invaders or Missile Command. Missile Command has appeared in pop culture a few times, but I think I like Space Invaders a little bit more. I think that was Taito.
Okay.
Space Invaders is correct.
Oh, good job.
Nicely done. Mike and
Nice.
Tim, over to you.
well, my association with Missile Command is that it's the game that John Connor is playing in T2. So let's go with the 90s.
Sure, why not?
All right, 1990s, here is your question. Which Major League Baseball team won the World Series in 1994?
Trick
Nobody.
question.
Yeah, nobody
Yeah,
did because it was
nobody
the strike ended the season.
That's right. Otherwise, it probably would have been the Expos. Crazy enough.
And that
The way
might
their
have saved
season was going.
baseball in Montreal, but it didn't.
But it didn't.
Nobody did. That is a correct answer. All right. Both teams.
But
have
for the
4
record, I
correct
could have told you
answers.
the other years either.
I know.
Yes.
I literally pull it up, go to the next question, and we go. So,
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Brian and Leah, back to you.
I kind of want to try the 60s, see how it goes.
Okay, your question in the 1960s. In 1963, the magnetic tape sound recording technology increased the number of tracks available per tape to how many tracks?
Well, obviously, it must be 8 tracks.
Oh, yeah, obviously. I was like, I don't even understand a word in that question, so. But I've heard of an 8-track tape. So,
Yep.
8 is correct. Nicely done.
good job.
Well
Tim
done.
and Mike, over to you.
Tim, what you think?
I mean, we're doing pretty good on the recent stuff. The older stuff scares me.
I agree.
But, if we want to try to eliminate some of that, or
We got to do it at some point. We haven't gone in 50s or 60s yet.
Yeah. Let's try a 50s. We're not going to know it.
Sure, why not? We'll see.
Here is your 50s question. In which 1953 film musical did Doris Day sing the hit song Secret Love?
Man.
Mike, you can't tag out for Nikki either. You got to get this one on your own.
Oh, no, I know. 53 musical. I know when she sang. I know this film in which she sang Que Sera Sera.
Whatever.
Were they not? Were they the same film?
I don't think so because I think that movie was a little later.
Oh, okay.
1953 musical.
What's the name of the song?
Secret Love.
Secret Love.
So I was just trying to think of musicals around that time. And I don't know. You said film musical, right, Chris?
Correct.
I mean, it would have to be with Doris Day. I don't know. Like, I don't know if there was like a Rodgers and Hammerstein. Like Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella would have probably been around that time. I think Oklahoma was a little earlier. 3.
So Secret Love to me, kind of, maybe to jog your memory, kind of brings to mind like Romeo and Juliet type vibes.
Yeah, that's.
But I think that was probably that was too early for the original West Side Story.
Yeah, West Side Story was in the 60s.
Okay.
At least film version. But no, that's I kind of thought of that too. Like in terms of Secret Love, because it also led me to maybe like Kiss Me Kate, which was the musical version of Taming of the Shrew, but just because it's Shakespeare. But I don't see any reason why there would be a song called Secret Love in there. Yeah, I mean,
I'm good. Need an answer.
I'm not pulling anything.
Do you want to go with Kiss Me Kate? Was that?
I think that was later too. Even though I'm pretty sure it was earlier, Oklahoma is almost more time appropriate than that. So even though I don't
let's
think
go with Oklahoma
is in there, and I don't think Doris Day was in it. That's close as I can get.
Unfortunately, it's not Oklahoma. This particular song won her the best song at the Oscars. This was Calamity Jane.
Oh, okay. Wouldn't have gotten there.
Brian, did you know that one?
I did not, actually.
Okay. Brian, Leah, over to you.
All right. I picked the last one. Leah, where do you want to go?
All right, let's go 90s.
All right. Which brand of water gun went on sale in 1990 and used manually pressurized air to shoot water further distances than standard water guns? Well, if only you guys can see Mike's face.
I can.
Sure.
Wipe that grin off your face, Brian Nash.
Leah, do you know what this one is?
Nope. I can think of Nerf gun, and that's about it. And that is not used with water. So.
How about a super soaker?
Super soaker. That, I remember seeing those commercials for like
let's
at
go with
Toys
Super
R Us
Soaker.
and stuff. So that makes sense.
Super Soaker is correct. Nicely done.
Good job.
Tim and Mike,
Well
over
done.
to you.
Oh, Mike, we gotta get back on the board here.
All right.
Let's close out the 2000s.
All right. I'm down for that.
Well, you can try. You may be successful. We'll see. Which Disney sequel was released in 2006, 64 years after the first film was released, giving it the record for the largest gap between movie sequels?
Wow. Okay.
64. You said 2006.
And the original was 64 years prior to that.
Okay, so that's 1942.
Yep. And conveniently, that would have been around the time of Bambi, and I know there was a Bambi sequel. I just don't know what the sequel was called. I don't think there was a Pinocchio sequel. I think that was a little earlier. I don't think there was a Dumbo sequel.
Fantasia 2000 would have been earlier.
Fantasia 2000 was earlier, and Fantasia was 1950, I think, so it wouldn't have...
Okay. Bambi?
I genuinely think it was Bambi, but I don't, or at least that's the first thing that popped in my head, because the year would be about right. And I know there was a sequel, but I couldn't tell you. I mean, it was like straight to DVD.
There wasn't a Snow White sequel, was there?
I don't think so. And that would be 1937. So.
Oh, okay.
I think that was 39, wasn't it?
Maybe it was 39. Everything came out in 39. So you're probably right. Chris, just to be clear, do you need the original movie or the sequel, or?
No, I'll take the original movie.
We can go with Bambi. I don't think we have anything better. I'm trying to remember 2006.
It's not, like I said, it wasn't a theatrical release, but I'm pretty sure there was a sequel. And I know that there's been like, I know there's like a Thumper, like a Disney Bunnies, that kind of has made a resurgence, because I see it in my girls' books.
We can go with it.
I don't know. It was the first thing that popped into my head.
I mean, if you think the year sounds about right,
the year's pretty close.
Then yeah, we can go with Bambi.
Okay.
Bambi 2 Cruise Control is the correct answer. Electric Boogaloo. I mean,
yep.
You could just do Bambi TO. But hey, we're moving on. You guys have closed out the 2000s.
Two Bambi, Too Furious. What was the sequel? Do you have it written down? What was the name?
It's just Bambi 2.
It's literally just
Also-
Bambi 2. Okay.
Wow.
Also known as Bambi and the Great Prince of the Forest.
Ah, okay.
Actually, I think we're gonna go with we're gonna flip tables a little bit here. It's gonna be Bambi 2 hunting season.
No, that was Goodwill Hunting too.
Oh yeah.
Hunting season.
I don't know about them apples, Will.
Hunting season or applesauce, bitch.
Applesauce, bitch.
Brian and Leah, over to you.
Also known as what Chris dared me to yell when I ran across home plate in a softball tournament one time.
Your last
Sorry.
name is Mott, and it worked.
We
We won the tournament. Like I don't know what
We
you're
did.
bitching about.
I'm not pitching. It was great. Anyway, sorry. Continue.
All right. So we've got, just to make sure I remember correctly here, Chris, we've got one in everything except 50s, right?
Correct. You got 2 in the 90s.
You want to close out the 90s?
Yeah, let's try 90s.
Okay, they
Again.
closed one out. Let's close one out in response.
They're going to try and close one out. Here is your 90s question. Name the year. Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace is released in theaters. Lance Armstrong wins his first Tour de France. And Mattel's Barbie doll separates her 40th birthday.
It's 99.
That was, I'm pretty sure that was just from the Star Wars. That was, I'm pretty sure that was 1999.
Yeah, because I feel like I saw it the summer after my 9th grade year of high school. So that would have been summer of 99. So
Fuck, I'm old.
I know. Sorry. I know every year that when I graduated and stuff like that. So,
If you want to feel even older, that I was going into 7th grade.
Aw, baby.
What's your answer?
99.
1999.
Summer of 99. That is correct. You guys have closed out the 90s.
Woohoo.
Mike and Tim, you closed out the 2000s. Every other year or every other decade is in play.
Well, since there was a Star Wars question on that one, I'm popping open my final Mango Lorian beer.
Go ahead and pick a year, Mike.
I don't know. I'm feeling 60s for some reason. Let's roll the dice.
We're going to the 60s. Eva Gabor's character adored what kind of view on the TV sitcom Green Acres? I can sing I love that theme song, so.
I know I'm seeing the theme song in my head to determine. The theme song is the only thing I know about that show. I mean, it was a meadow view, a farm view. I don't know.
Meadow kind of sounds like it works. And for
Yeah.
some reason, when you said meadow, it went, oh, that sounds right.
I don't have anything. I never watched. It was not one of the ones that came up on Nick at Night.
All right, meadow views.
Unfortunately, Meadowview is not correct. Brian, you were raising your hand.
Yeah, I know all the words to that theme song. He was talking about how much things he loved on the farm. She was talking about how much she loved things in the city. And she said, I just adore a penthouse view. Darling, I love you, but give me Park Avenue.
Park Avenue, yep.
Yep.
Eva Gabor. Why would she give a shit about a meadow? Yeah, it's a great point. Of course, she would love a penthouse view. Yep.
That's fair.
Brian
Yep.
and Leah, over to you.
All right. We don't have a 50s. I kind of want to try again on that.
Yeah, let's try again.
Name the year Playboy magazine is first published. Julius and Ethel Rosenberg are executed for espionage, and the chemical structure of DNA is discovered.
Okay. Harry Truman, Doris Day, Red China, Johnny Ray, South Pacific, Walter Winchell, Joe DiMaggio, Joe McCarthy, Richard Nixon, Studebaker Television, North Korea, South Korea, Marilyn Monroe.
Sorry.
Did that help at all?
He did stuff in order in year by year, but
It
that
helped
was
me. Now I have a great song in my head.
Rosenberg's H-bomb, Sugar Ray, Panmunjom. Okay.
So before the bomb.
So all those things happened in the same year. Okay. Playboy first showed up. The year that's coming to mind, and I'm not certain. I think it was 55.
Okay. I could literally name any year and it could be that for me. So I have nothing to go off of for this.
Need an answer.
Just go with your gut.
Okay. Hold on. Harry Truman, Doris Day, Red China, Johnny Ray, South Pacific, Walter Winchell, Joe DiMaggio, Joe McCarthy, Richard Nixon, Studebaker Television, North Korea, South Carolina, Marilyn Monroe. Shit. Because I thought each line had to do with a year. And I think the fifth line is the Rosenbergs to start off the fifth line. And I want to say the first line of the song started in like 53. So I'm going to change my answer. I'm going to say 58. And I would like to go with 1958 if you don't have any objection.
Let's do it.
Okay, 58.
Unfortunately, no. It was 1953.
Oh.
It was 53.
Oh, so
Damn
either way, it would have given us the same outcome. So no harm, no foul.
Yep.
Mike and Tim, over to you.
Do we just need a win at this point? Do we need to come back recent?
Yeah. Let's do a 90s and get
I'm fine with that.
play to our strengths for a minute.
Okay.
Back to the 90s. Which phrase described a trend in men's hairstyles in which the hair was cut short, bleached, and formed into short spikes with hairspray or gel?
I mean, are they just looking for mohawk?
Cut short, bleached, and
then spiked in the middle. Like, that's a mohawk, right? Or is that...
Read the question one more time.
Which phrase described a trend in men's hairstyles in which the hair was cut short, bleached, and formed into short spikes with hairspray or gel?
I don't think they're talking about that. I think they are talking
tips?
like, yeah.
I mean, even
Cause
back when I
think
had
it's down
hair,
the
my
middle,
hair wasn't...
It's just
right.
It's just everywhere.
Yeah.
So like frosted tips.
Frosted tips. That maybe makes more sense. Like,
so I'd say it's frosted tips.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm fine with it. Yeah.
Frosted tips is a correct answer.
Damn it!
Nice.
I was hoping you guys were going to go with mohawk. I was like, I know this one.
And I've got a slight tweak to the game, being that it's playing harder than I anticipated. We are instead going to request or require 2 correct answers to close out a category. And being that you have each closed out a 90s and a 2000, you have each closed out either the 90s or the 2000s, you can tell me what decade you want that point attributed to.
Ooh, I love it. I mean, 50s is probably our call on that one.
We don't have a 50s, so let's go with a 50s.
So we're moving both years to the 50s. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So now you need 2 points to close out a category. Mike and Tim have closed out the 90s and the 2000s. Brian and Lee have closed out the 90s. But Mike and Tim are still lacking in the 60s and 70s. Brian and Leah have won in everything else. Back to Brian and Leah for this next question.
All right. Should we go ahead and close out the 2000s?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
We are confident that we will be closing out the 2000s on this one, Alex.
Here we go. We're about to find out. Tossed Salads and Scrambled Eggs was the theme song to what sitcom whose final season concluded in 2004?
I prefer jelly.
I prefer the syrup.
Shout out is supposed to be coming back to probably Peacock Network sometime soon. Looking forward to it, but it's definitely Frasier.
Frasier is the correct answer. With that, y'all have closed out both the 90s and the 2000s. Tim and Mike, over to you.
Well, we could either close out the 80s or try for an older one.
I could go either way. The problem is I'm keeping score locally, and that glaring gap on the on the two that they have a bullet on is.
Let's go with the 70s.
Okay, I'm cool with that. I was almost around then.
Name the band founded in Chicago by Maurice White in 1970 that grew out of a previous band known as the Salty Peppers.
Mike, this feels like a you question.
That's what you're giving me? Oh, gosh.
I don't know how this is my fault, but okay.
No, I know. No, I'm just like Maurice White. That's the name. And it was formed in the 70s, and the previous band was the Salty Peppers.
In Chicago.
in Chicago. Yeah, but other than the band Chicago, which existed prior to that, I'm pretty sure as the Chicago Transit Authority, I don't know any bands from Chicago that I can think of from that era.
In 1970.
Yeah, 70. So that's pretty early. It's not television, I can tell you that much. Sorry, inside joke. Let's see, 70.
So I'm very bad at gauging when anything happened.
Right. Okay.
But for some reason, Earth, Wind, and Fire came to mind, and I don't think that's right.
That's a reasonable guess, honestly. I felt like they were a little later, but it's not bad.
Okay.
It's definitely not bad.
The only other one that came to mind, well, you also got to remember, how long before they had big hits.
Before they broke, yeah. Correct. And that's a good point. I like Earth, Wind, and Fire as a guess.
And then the other thought I had for no reason whatsoever was Casey and the Sunshine Band, but
of those two, I like Earth, Wind, and Fire better as a guess. I think of them both as mid 70s, but again, yeah, they could have been doing their thing for a while. Salty Peppers gives me nothing, and
yeah,
the name Maurice White kind of rings a vague bell, but I'm not placing it anywhere right now.
Need an answer.
I like Earth, Wind, and Fire. I'm good with locking with that.
All right.
Earth, Wind, and Fire is correct.
Boom!
Great pull.
When you said that, I was like, that's really good. I like that a lot. I had no idea why. That was great.
Wow. Tim's shocked face right there.
It's because of the
Yeah,
Windy
that was
City.
amazing.
The Windy City, right? Because when you said it was
reason to pull
Chicago.
I just say it's really brave. It's really brave to have a prequel to an animated TV show called Captain Planet be a band from the 70s. Like, that's just really weird.
I literally went.
That was before they had Heart.
I literally went. I've got no idea. Maybe it's Earth, Wind, and Fire.
See, but here's the benefit. This is where the benefit comes in, because I'm diving in my brain. I'm going 10 different ways in the 70s, and you're just being like, oh, let me think of a 70s band, Earth, Wind, and Fire. That sounds good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I haven't even gotten to that genre yet because I'm sitting here going in so many different
General rule of thumb: Mike shouldn't
done.
play music questions with me. General rule of thumb.
That is actually proven almost disturbingly true on this podcast. No, well done, Tim.
Brian and Leah, it's over to you. You need 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, one of each.
All right, should we close out the 80s?
Yeah, I want to do 80s real bad.
Okay.
You have to wait. I'm not even 40 yet, babe. Designed by Hasbro's Play School division, which popular stuffed toy contained a battery-powered device that would light up the toy's head when squeezed?
Do you know this one?
I don't. I thought Teddy Ruxpin, but I was like, did he have a head that lit up? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure this is going to be a glowworm.
Glowworm. Okay, that sounds good.
Glowworm is correct. You've closed out the 80s.
Yay.
Nice pull. I forgot all about glowworms until you said it.
Yeah, they probably
I
existed.
graduated high school in 87.
As soon as you said it, I was born in 87.
Uh-huh.
As soon as you said it, the image of one popped
old.
into my head. I could see it perfectly, but I don't know that I would have pulled that.
I definitely would not have.
Mike and Tim, it's over to you.
Which makes me reticent to say let's try and close out the 80s just like they did.
Well, I got the hard one, so you're going to get the easy one.
That's actually a good point. You want to go for it?
Let's go for it.
All right.
They're going to go for it. Name the year the Star Wars film Return of the Jedi is released. The U.S. invades Grenada, and the first call was made on Motorola's Dynatec 8000X cell phone.
1983.
Boom.
And that's the year I was born, and both teams have closed out the 80s.
Best year ever.
I saw, as soon as you say Star Wars film, Tim's already like smiling and nodding. He's like, I'm there.
It is kind of fitting that both of you got Star Wars questions for the Name the Year question. Yeah, Brian says
as soon as you said Star Wars, my mind went, okay, which one?
Yep.
Exactly. It's either 80 or 83 at that point. Unless he's trying to go for like, one of the Ewok movies or some shit like that.
Caravan of Courage.
I was trying to pull it. I was like, Caravan of something. That's what I was trying to pull. Or the Battle of Endor.
This last Thursday was the 44th anniversary of the Star Wars Holiday Special. Just saying.
It was Life Day. It was Life Day on Thursday.
That's right.
Brian and Leah, you need one left in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Where are we going?
Oh, let's get the hard one out of the way. Let's do the 50s.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
In which year did West Germany first win the World Cup?
That's the hard one, all right. Do you have any knowledge, Leah?
I have negative zero knowledge. I was like, when did West Germany stop becoming a country? That was like way later, right? So, because that was with the Berlin Wall, right? So that's not even near this time. So that would not have helped me at all.
That's a good point. Somewhere in the latter half, let's go 56.
Yeah,
with
56
no reason.
sounds good.
Can I take a guess?
56 is unfortunately not correct. Tim, what were you going to say?
Well, if it's latter half, then I'm going to say 58.
Yeah, I would say 58 too.
54.
Okay.
Oh, really?
I was between 54 and 58, and the only reason I went 58 is because Brian thought it was later half. Because I know for World War II, it went on pause and came back in 1950. So I knew it was like 50, 54, or 58, and it wasn't 50.
There's some logic there. Not bad, not bad. Mike and Tim, it's over to you.
All right, Tim. What do you think? 50s, 60s, or 70s? Where the only one we don't have any in is the 60s, but the only reason we have one in the 50s is because we gave it one in the 2000s.
Let's go for the 60s and see if we can get a true tie.
Okay, sounds good.
What is the nickname of Jem and Scout's neighbor, Arthur Radley, in the Pulitzer Prize-winning novel To Kill a Mockingbird?
That's Boo, isn't it?
Boo Radley.
Yeah. Boo
Played by
Radley.
Robert Duvall in his film debut in the movie.
Boo Radley is correct, and you have officially tied the game.
Damn it.
Well,
All right.
You got Dora the Explorer.
Yeah, I guess I really can't, bitch.
Swiper, no swiping. Swiper, no swiping.
All right. Leah, should we just work our way backwards?
Sure.
is that back when Dora was on Tinder? Is that what this was?
She's probably old enough for it now.
Damn.
That's a good point.
70s, please, Chris.
What was the 1974 boxing match between George Foreman and Muhammad Ali in Zaire known as?
I know it. It was the Rumble in the Jungle.
It's the Rumble in the Jungle, I do believe.
That is a correct answer, and y'all have closed out the 70s.
Woohoo!
Whew.
Life is unfair.
Well, Mike
Shut
and
up,
Tim, it's
Malcolm.
over to you.
Well done, guys. Well done.
Take your pick, Mike. What are you
Let's
feeling?
see. They just got the. I'm reticent to go to the 70s because of that question. Screw it. Let's go 50s. See if we can close it out.
To close out the 50s, which song was a hit for Jackie Wilson in 1957 and again in 1986?
Okay, so that makes me think it's a movie.
So when I
Song.
think of Jackie Wilson songs, I think of Your Love Is Lifting Me Higher. Your love is lifting me higher. Was that in a movie in 86? That's the first Jackie Wilson song that pops into my head.
Okay, I mean that's more Jackie Wilson songs than I can name.
But the main reason I can name that as a Jackie Wilson song is because of Ghostbusters 2, but that came out in 88.
Okay,
But it also might have been that they were referencing something that happened in 86.
okay. What movies came out in 86? So we already talked about Ferris Bueller was that year.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I feel like this is a Bohemian Rhapsody situation.
I completely agree. It had some sort of pop culture touchstone.
When was Dirty Dancing?
Dirty Dancing would have been around 86.
Okay. Well, that would have just been.
But it could have been that there were a number of hits off Dirty Dancing soundtrack.
Were any of them Jackie Wilson?
That's a fair point.
'Cause I had the time of my life.
Yeah. No.
No. Although well sung. That's one of my and Nikki's go-to duets in karaoke. So,
I mean, if you can name a Jackie Wilson song, let's go with it.
I don't know what the name of the song is, but it's the one that goes, "Your love is lifting me higher." That's all I got.
Okay, let's just go with that.
Okay, that's what we'll lock in with.
Well, Mike, your trend continues, my friend. The name of the song is Reet Petite.
Okay, that is definitely not anything I would have ever pulled in a million years.
It's all right. Brian and Leo are over to you.
It doesn't matter.
Okay. So what we have left is the 50s and 60s.
I think so.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and close out the 60s then.
We'll see. Oh, we're back to naming the year. Name the year.
These are the worst.
Mattel's Hot Wheels toy cars are launched. The news magazine TV program 60 Minutes debuts on CBS. And the film Oliver opens in theaters.
Oliver. I saw that movie. It was in color.
Wow.
It was just like a very faded color. Not very vibrant.
Okay. I don't remember anything in any recent memory about 60 Minutes hitting any milestone like 45 years or 50 years or anything like that. The number that popped into my head with very little reason was 1964.
Okay. Because I don't know why I'm just thinking some of the movies that came out in like the early 60s, like 61, 62, 63. I like that won like Oscars and stuff. I don't remember if Oliver was like up against them for anything. So yeah, I mean, it's really going to be a guess no matter what, 'cause it's a year question. So
Yeah, it really is, unfortunately.
so yeah, let's go with your gut.
Okay, we'll try 64.
Unfortunately not. 1968 is what we were looking for.
Wow, I would have definitely thought like mid 60s.
Well, Mike and Tim, it's over to you.
I don't know.
Well, then I'm glad I took that question away from you.
You're right.
So it's still a win for us. It's okay.
I mean, at some point, we're going to need a 50s question no matter what.
That's true. You want to just keep hammering it and hope that we get lucky?
Let's just do it.
I'm fine with that.
We're going back to the 50s. What was Elvis Presley's first million-selling single?
Damn. I mean, when I think of him performing, like with the, I think of Hound Dog. That's like the first. I think of him performing that and doing like the pelvis shake and everything like that.
Hound Dog was my first.
I
My second was Jailhouse Rock, but I think that was later.
Jailhouse Rock was later. That was after. It was like his third movie. It was definitely later.
And his gospel stuff was later, right?
And I think his gospel stuff was a little. Yeah, I don't know.
We both kind of leaned into Hound Dog.
We both thought Hound Dog right away. I would say not overthink it and just go with it. And if we're wrong, nothing matters.
We'll go with Hound
we
Dog.
Go to jail. Yep.
Peacefully, quietly. We'll enjoy it. Hound Dog, unfortunately, is not correct. We're looking for Heartbreak Hotel.
Okay. Okay.
And that's one
I'd been around that
knew.
time.
Yep. Brian and Leah,
they were all
you need the
there.
60s or the 50s. Where are we going?
Okay. We've had two tough 50s in a row. Let's try a 50s and see if we can steal the easy one.
Yeah.
I love you too, Tim.
We're back to the 50s?
Yeah.
I'm
50s.
number one. I'm number one.
Maybe number 2.
Ooh, double backflip. I'm impressed.
Who defeated the New York Giants in overtime in the 1958 NFL Championship game?
My guess for this would just be to guess which teams were probably good back then, like the Steelers, maybe the Packers. Who are the other ones that have won the most? I know those two. Well, I don't know if those two are out there. I know
Okay.
Packers won the first one for the Super Bowl.
First Super Bowl was in 64.
And
this
this
would
is
be
before
before
then?
that.
Because this is 50s.
You said 58?
58 was the year.
Okay, so what teams were around back then?
A lot of them.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I want. Sorry, Chris. Could you read that one for me one more time?
1 second.
Get that popcorn out of your mouth.
The problem with this popcorn is every time I have popcorn out of my mouth, it just magically finds its way back in. This popcorn's amazing.
Uh-huh.
Who defeated the New York Giants in overtime in the 1958 NFL Championship game?
The only team I can say I'm pretty sure it was not the Bears. That's my team.
The Bears.
Oh, okay.
I kind of want to go with something off the wall and say a team that doesn't normally win. Like has a history of not winning, like the Lions or the Cleveland Browns.
Okay. My
Because
only
their
question
teams-
is, do we need to name the city or the team? Because didn't some teams like move or change names and stuff? Should we be concerned about that at all, or do we think it's
that
like a team
has
that's
happened.
currently...
Cleveland Browns were always Cleveland Browns,
Okay.
and the Detroit Lions were always Detroit Lions.
Okay. Yeah, I'm fine with any of those.
Of those, I kind of like Cleveland a little better, actually. Should we go with Cleveland Browns?
Sure. Yeah, let's go Cleveland.
All right, we'll do that.
Cleveland rocks.
The nicest thing anyone's ever said about Cleveland is that they like it a little bit better than Detroit. Unfortunately, not a correct answer. This is actually the Baltimore Colts.
Oh, so that
Okay.
is tricky.
It was a little tricky.
Tim thought it was the Cleveland Browns too, which I mean, it would have made sense. They were actually a pretty solid team back
If
then.
we had gone with Baltimore or Colts individually,
If you had
would
given
we
me
have done
Colts, I would have given to you. Baltimore, I wouldn't.
Oh, okay. Well, it doesn't matter,
Incidentally,
but
the previous year was the Detroit Lions over the Cleveland Browns.
Wow. All right, Mike and
Nice.
Tim, we're over to you. You need the 50s, 60s, and 70s, one of each. You are currently trailing by 1.
Let's do the
Just wanna-
70s.
Yeah, I was feeling like let's transition to the 70s. Yeah,
Yeah.
making a true tie again.
In 1978, Woody Allen won an Oscar for Best Director for which movie?
Oh,
Okay. When I think Woody Allen, I think Annie.
it's Annie.
not
It's
An-
Annie Hall. It's Annie
Yeah.
Hall. Annie Hall, because it famously beat Star Wars among others for the best picture, best Academy Award Oscar.
Criminal, but Annie Hall.
I'm not arguing, but Annie Hall was the best picture winner, so it would have been his best director too.
Annie Hall is correct, and you've closed at the 70s and once again tied the game.
oh boy.
It's coming down to the 50s and 60s, and we're back to Brian and Leah.
Annie Hall is the only Woody Allen movie I've watched, and I couldn't stand that.
I
movie.
hated it too. It was real bad for me.
The only thing that made me laugh is when he sneezed into the cocaine.
In fairness, that's hilarious.
It was funny, but apparently it was not planned. It just actually it just happened, and they ran with it.
Right.
Nothing he wrote was funny enough to make me actually laugh out loud.
You didn't like when he pulled Marshall McLuhan from behind the thing? Oh my gosh! All right, that's
No,
anyway.
I can't stand Woody Allen, man.
Fair
All
enough.
right,
line.
Yep,
Leah,
fair enough.
Leah, let's keep hammering on this 50s till we get it.
All right, let's do 50s.
Going back to the 50s,
Big
here
5-0.
you go. Which ballet by Tchaikovsky was shown on primetime television in color for the first time on Christmas Day, 1958?
Well, when you
Okay.
think ballets that come out at Christmas time, I can only think of one.
Let's go with the Nutcracker.
Yeah. Does it have a longer name or is it just the Nutcracker?
Well, I mean, the Nutcracker is the overall, and there's other stuff. There's the Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairies, and there's other like movements in that. But I think that is the overall title of the ballet is the Nutcracker.
Okay, I
Or
100%
the
agree.
the Nutcracker Suite,
Okay, yep, let's
I
do
believe,
it.
is it.
You've closed out the 50s. Nutcracker is correct. Nicely done. Tim, do you know that one?
Yeah. So Chris, Mike messaged me. He said, "Bio break. They better not get an easy one." And I said they did. Tchaikovsky Christmas Ballet, and he goes, "Oh, for fuck's sake!"
And all I can say is pew, 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 pew.
Name any other ballets. I step away for 2 minutes. Oh, 50s. I've got time. These are always hard.
Well, Mike and Tim, where are we going? 50s or 60s?
Tim goes like, get back here.
What do you want? What do you want, Mike?
I don't know. Let's go 60s. It's been a while since we've gone 60s.
Sure. And at least we've gotten one of those right.
Right.
Here is your 60s question, and it's a Name the Year challenge. Name the year the Beatles give their last public performance. Richard Nixon is sworn in as president. The Woodstock Music Festival is held in upstate New York.
The first two took place in January of 1969, and the last one took place in August of 1969.
Pretty sure we could add the lunar landing.
Yep.
And
numerous
the
other
of
things.
Sesame Street.
Yeah.
There you go.
So we're going to go
In
with
October.
a very nice 1969.
69, dudes.
September was a
1969
particularly
is
good month.
correct. So to set the stage here, Brian and Leah, you guys need a 60s question. Mike and Tim have yet to get a 50s question correct.
Yep.
So,
All right, so
I'm not even going to
it's
ask
down
you. We're
to-
just going to go right into the 60s. Brian and
So
Leah,
we only need a 50s and we only need a 60s and they only need a 50s.
correct.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
shit.
give them a
All
90s.
Right.
Yeah, we would like a 90s, please.
I'll have a joke there. I'm not going to make it. All right. Here's your 60s question. What did Mary Quant, Quant, design in London in the mid-60s that quickly became a fashion craze around the world?
You said that was Quant?
Quant, Quant.
Something with fashion.
A 60s fashion question.
Pantyhose.
Real quick.
A floppy hat.
Pantyhose were definitely around before the 60s. Well, I say that, but there was, well, no.
I'm just trying to think else. Like stilettos. Like, would it be a kind of shoe? Would it be
60s fashion. So you've got like the mod, no. Well, yeah, the Mod Squad like dress thing, the go-go boots.
the bra? Were women wearing bras before then? I have no idea.
No, brassiere was definitely before that.
Okay.
I say that.
I'm just picturing, so there, people had like the
But
flipped
I
out
know
hair, but
that-
that's not fashion.
No, the brassiere was around before that.
And bathing suits were before that. The bikini? Was the bikini before then?
The World War II pinup girls had brassieres.
Okay. Yeah,
Wait,
so I don't
is
know.
it- No, this is 60s. You want to just go with, the best I've got is go-go boots for a guess.
Okay.
I can't come up with something else that was 60s
Yeah, that's
that-
fine with me.
is 60s fashion. So I guess we'll go go-go boots.
Unfortunately, go-go boots is not a correct answer. Heterosexual men everywhere thankful for this.
Yep.
She was the person that invented the miniskirt.
Oh, the mini skirt.
We both guessed go-go. Well, Tim guessed go-go boots, and I said I've got nothing. And then Tim looked it up. Yeah.
Mike and Tim, this is for the win. If you get this right, you're going to be our winners tonight. If you get it wrong, Brian and Leah have a chance to come out on top. Here is your question. Which Christmas song was a hit for Harry Belafonte in 1956 and Boney M in 1978?
Okay, so right off the bat, Mike, the first thing that comes to mind is the Christmas song. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
Yeah. I mean, the It could have been Harry Belafonte could have done a version of that. The quote unquote famous version, as far as I know, is Nat King Cole. It's the version I think of, but certainly Harry Belafonte could have had a version of that.
Did you have a guess?
No, I didn't, honestly. That actually, it's weird that you say that, and maybe I shouldn't even be trying to talk us out of it, because even though I was like, oh, that's a Nat King Cole song, the first thing that popped into my head as well was the Christmas song. So maybe we shouldn't overthink it and just go with it. What was the other name of the other band, though? Or the other artist?
Boney M. Boney is the first name. M, just the letter, is the last name or last initial.
Okay, and that was 78?
1978.
Okay.
Boney M sounds like a rapper's name.
It does, and that's the only reason, like, I was a little hesitant on the Christmas song. Like when I think of Belafonte, I think a little more tropical, for lack of a better word. Like, that's not the right word. It's not the word I'm trying to think of. But that led me to Mele Kalikimaki, even though I know it's not. I know that's not
right.
Daylight command.
That's why. That's why. See, Brian's. Yeah. Understand. See, here's the problem. We're a week away from the Macy's Day Parade. Santa has not waved. It is not the Christmas season yet, so my brain isn't there.
So here's the thing. So you do you know who sings the Mele Kalikimaka?
I'm pretty sure it was. Wasn't it Bing Crosby originally?
Okay, because here's what I'm thinking. I can hear that, and this might just be. Well, no, never mind. Boney M doesn't sound. For a second, I thought Chris was mispronouncing Bonnie.
No, I don't think so.
So maybe, my thought went, I could hear that song being sung both by guys and girls.
Right.
But we both kind of keyed in on Christmas song.
I think we just lock in with Christmas song. My only hesitation is I feel like the question implies it was first a hit with Harry Belafonte, which would not be the case with a Christmas song, but it doesn't necessarily have to be the case.
Yeah, I mean they got their question first, so even if we're wrong here, we should get another shot.
No, that's true. That's true. All right, let's do it.
So we'll go with the Christmas song, aka Chestnuts Roasting on an Open Fire,
and that is an incorrect answer.
Yeah. Okay.
The song we're looking for is not that big anymore, but it did have a couple of runs. It's called Mary's Boy Child.
What?
Yep. Was never happening in a million years.
Nope.
All right, Leah. Brian, over to you for the 60s. Let's see how we do. In what U.S. state did the first Walmart open in 1962?
Is that Arkansas?
That would be my immediate guess. Would be
because that's where their headquarters is.
Yep. Let's go with it.
Okay, we're gonna say Arkansas.
Arkansas is a correct answer.
Arkansas,
Yep.
Arkansas. God, I love that Arkansas.
Yep. Well done.
Love my ma, love my pa, love that Arkansas, or whatever words.
All right, Tim, it's Sydney or the Bush.
So this is the fun thing, is that y'all haven't gotten a 50s question right all night.
I know.
And to keep the game going, you've got to get one.
Yep.
Thank
you, Chris, for...
It's time for an Earth, Wind, and Fire moment.
Or something.
Tim, bend over, shove your hand all the way in there, and see if you can pull this out. Here is your question.
We didn't really need the visual.
The visual?
We didn't need the visual either.
That was a beautifully turned phrase, my friend.
I got you. The song Bippity Boppity Boo is from what 1950 Walt Disney film?
Oh my God.
This is just unfair right now.
This is your Dora the Explorer.
So what happens now that we're about to go to sudden death?
Well, let's first
answer that. Yeah.
I mean that'd
be Cinderella. Yeah.
You sure you don't mean Sleeping Beauty?
I'm sure.
Is it Cinderella 2 Cruise Control?
No,
Cinderella's
it's
the correct answer.
electric bibbity bobbity boo.
That's right.
Glue.
By the way, weird fact, both Breakin' and Breakin' 2 came out in the same year. I learned that recently doing research for Boozy Bracketology.
Alrighty then.
Yeah, so there you
Well,
go. Anyway,
here's how this is going to work. We're going to do a closest to the pin challenge based on a year. So I'm going to give you 3 events.
Oh.
It'll happen sometime between 1950 and 2009. So
that's limited. Okay.
all you have to do is be the closest to the pin answering this question. Name the year the Explorer 1 satellite is launched into orbit. The first skateboard is invented by surfers Bill and Mark Richards in California. And Elvis Presley is inducted into the U.S. Army.
Read the question one more time.
I'm sorry, I can't do that.
Because you're incapable or because you refuse?
A little bit of both. All right, here we go. Name the year the Explorer 1 satellite is launched into orbit. The first skateboard is invented by surfers Bill and Mark Richards in California, and Elvis Presley is inducted into the U.S. Army.
All right, we'll just go ahead and lock in.
Brian, Leah, over to you.
Well, I sent him a message and I said, so Elvis was in the Army before he was a singer, ?
Actually, he was not. He was a singer, and then he got drafted into the Army.
Okay. I should have watched that Baz Luhrmann film, and I would have known that.
Well, I don't remember if he was drafted or if he volunteered.
Well, yeah, and he also said the word inducted in the question, and I thought that was weird, but it's probably all the same thing.
But that having I was thinking early 60s.
Okay.
But the inducted in makes me think it's now got to be probably
like earlier.
I'm trying to remember if we drafted people into Korea.
Oh, so that's a good way in.
Because if we were doing a draft in Korea, that would be about 1951.
Oh, that seems
54.
early.
But that's way early for Elvis.
Yeah, because if he was already making music first.
Yeah, if it was a Vietnam draft, then we're looking at mid to late 60s.
Right.
And it had to be before that.
Were people drafted in between then? Or are we just really trying to decide between like early 50s and late 60s?
Elvis wasn't on the scene in the early 50s.
Okay. But this was pretty early on in his career, we think that he was in the Army? Or was it late? It wasn't later because he was skinny in the movie. So when he's in the Army uniform, so that would make him younger.
Very definitely. So, okay. This is making me think that he volunteered for the Army because neither one of those numbers works for me as far as where in his career he would have joined the Army. So, what I was thinking before we started talking was early 60s.
Okay.
So like 61 to 64 range.
Okay.
And because we're talking Elvis was drafted. Explorer 1, that doesn't mean anything to me, but
no.
The space race, I think Sputnik hit space in like 63.
Yeah, I feel like we were putting people in space in the early 60s. Right?
Yeah.
Because they didn't get to the moon till 69, but I think everything of people in space was all in the 60s decade when it started. But I don't know about the satellite. Because I assume we put satellites up before people, but or
Yes.
at the same time?
Yeah, we definitely did unmanned flights first. And
So
then
like
the third.
61?
So wait, Elvis was inducted into the Army. Explorer 1, and the third one was
Skateboard?
Skateboard.
Which
Okay.
put me in the 80s, so that was of no help to me. So I had no idea it
no.
had been around since.
So surfing, surfing has definitely been around since the late 50s, early 60s,
Okay.
and it was surfers who invented the board. The year that I want to kind of lean towards is 61.
Okay. That makes sense with
And-
everything we've been talking out. I'm
Yeah.
really good with 61.
So I may be off by a year or two, but that's about as close as I just matching everything up. 61 seems to fit the best for me.
Okay. Let's do it.
All right. We're going to lock in with 1961.
All right, 1961 for them. Tim and Mike, what did you say?
So I immediately
This is about as
went.
close as you can get.
I immediately went with 1951 originally, is what I messaged to Mike, because also I could have sworn he was in Korea, but that might just be like the prevalence of like Korean Elvis, conflating all that. Mike came back with what did you say originally?
I said early 60s, almost the exact same time as he said 51, because I knew it was after Elvis was famous. I knew he was drafted. I don't really think the draft ever went away after World War II.
Not until after Vietnam.
It was really just until once it ramped up in Vietnam that the protests really started kind of to hammer it back down.
So we went back and forth trying to figure it out, and it wasn't until when we asked you to reread the question that we kind of keyed in on the Explorer 1 part.
And then Tim asked me about Sputnik, and I said I think it was around 1958.
And so we ended up, Mike was leaning between 60 and 61, and we went earlier with 1960.
Wow.
So like I said, about as close as you can get.
Yeah.
Yes, that's pretty. You guys are right in the same area. The good news is that you're right in the right area. So a fun fact that I was reading that Washington Post article that I came across was when Elvis was drafted, they had offered him basically a special services deal.
Right.
To be drafted. He'd go in, he'd be able to go in and entertain the troops. His manager, who we are learning more and more about through pop culture and film, talked him out of that and talked him into going in as a regular soldier.
Yep.
I guess that was right after all the, not the bad publicity, but he came to power being very controversial, or came to fame being very controversial. With all that being said, we do have a winner, because the correct year, 1958.
Ooh, that was earlier than. Okay.
It was earlier.
So the other thing that I threw out to Tim was the musical Bye Bye Birdie was written about Elvis joining the Army. It was different. Birdie was the name of the singer instead of Elvis. But my sister was in that musical twice in high school, so I know it very well.
I'm assuming that was after 1958, though.
And I knew it was early 60s. That was the other thing that kind of put me in that time frame.
Well, and now you guys got a 50s question right. So
Guys.
yay.
All right. Right?
We got a 50s question right by
Guys.
going with the 60s.
Yeah,
Exactly. Guys, what a game.
Yeah, good game, guys.
hell of a game, though.
I love that Chris had such faith in us early on that he's like, we'll knock out 3 of each of these, no problem. He gets about 10 questions and he goes, we're going to knock it down to 2.
I didn't want to be here for 3 hours.
That's fair.
Totally fair.
Great game. That was fun.
But with that being said, Tim and Mike, congratulations, my friends. Good win. Brian and Leah, hell of a showing.
We tried.
Came down to the very final question. It came down to a challenge. That's always a good thing.
Yep.
That's never a bad thing. We have a tie.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll take that.
Even matches for sure.
But ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of another episode of the Pub Trivia Experience. We hope you enjoyed the show. You had some laughs. You learned some stuff. You'll probably never forget who Boo Radley is again. Probably a good thing.
Okay, that was on the easier end of questions. Most people, I think, would know that one.
Yes. But if I
Yes,
had
it
gone
was.
with, what's his name? Joe Conrad?
William Conrad. I'll never
William
forget
Conrad.
him either.
Yeah.
From
I will.
Canon.
I already forgot his
Oh,
name.
I already forgot him.
Of Canon fame.
Yes.
He was a 2-time Emmy nominee for Canon. Thank you, sir. But we hope you enjoyed the
Emmys.
show. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you either found some new drinks to try or maybe some new popcorn for those in the Florida area. Yes, mock it all you want. It's great. But you know what? Find us online. Check the show notes where you can find all of our socials. But if you have the financial capacity to do so and help us out, patreon.com/PTEBB is the best home to do that. We've got some new stuff in the works for 2023 that's going to be happening. We're very excited for. We have new bonus episodes dropping each and every week through our Patreon feed. But you know what? You've heard enough from me. For the Pub Trivia Experience, I have been Chris.
I've been Leah.
I've been Tim.
I'm Brian.
I know. I'm Mike.
We'll work on that next time. Have a good one, everybody.